It's pretty early in 2025, but I will go out and say that I think Clair Obscur Expedition 33 could be the sleeper hit of the year. I've been very impressed with what I've seen and played so far, and I think that you guys are really going to dig this. This isn't coming out until April of this year, but we've got access to a 3+ hour preview that takes place a little bit into the game, and I think you guys are gonna really enjoy this. The voice acting cast is A+, and I'm not gonna spill any beans here, but I'd be curious, as the voices come up that you hear, leave me a comment with your best guesses as to who it is. The cast is very solid. But we'll get into the story and stuff as we go, but let's just start here. We're gonna start a brand new game. Okay, so we are gonna play on Expert. There are some parrying elements in this, which is very fun. The combat is really enjoyable. On Expert, hard difficulty with highly demanding combat. Enemies deal greater damage, and mastering dodges and parries is required. Recommended for players who enjoy difficult games with real-time mechanics. I am a bit of a masochist, but we're gonna run it. Everything else looks great. Let's go. So this will be a sort of a teaser series, and then when the full game comes out, we'll be playing from the very beginning. Now, this previously in video will not be in the main game. This is just for this specific build of the preview.
Have you tried throwing with your other arm instead? If you could hit the paintress directly, that would actually be useful. Can't believe Sophie already turned 33.
You know how I feel? Another path, you know, another future. Legacy can take many forms, right?
This too is your legacy. Stubborn people change the world.
We'll break the cycle, so she can't steal anyone else's future.
Expeditioners, we do not take for granted that you dedicate your final year of life to keeping hope alive for all of Lumiere. As you sail into the unknown, know that Lumiere stands with you. When you battle the Paintress, know that Lumiere fights with you.
You're old.
Which expedition are you from? Fall back! Men! Stop! Come on, we need to go!
So you may have some questions about what you just saw there. This painter that we're trying to defeat, essentially every year paints a new number in the sky, and then everybody of that age dies. But the problem is, besides the obvious one, the painter every year is painting a lower and lower number. So eventually everybody's going to be eradicated. And it seems like when your age is painted, you go on this expedition to try and stop the painter. And in that cutscene, we ran into somebody, we don't know who that is, and we said, oh, you're old, like, how is this possible? So there's some mysteries we need to sort through here, as you might imagine. But quite the original idea. And Sandfall Interactive, the devs here, have done a really good job with this. Now, I don't know if this is insinuating that Gustav here maybe has some heart problems, or if this is just a panic attack, or who knows? We'll have to see. We saw that he was with somebody, Sophie, that disintegrated, for lack of a better term. And this is where we pick up. In the Spring Meadows. We've seen better days, for sure. The visuals in here are absolutely just like... I'm gushing because, again, I've tested this from what I've seen as well. It just looks so visually stunning. Okay, let's check the expedition status here. It's going to show the name of the current area, the expedition's current objective, and bindings for exploration. There's certain things that you can do in exploration that you can't do in combat and vice versa. But we're just looking for survivors at the Indigo Tree in Spring Meadows. The current health of the expedition, on the right, we have 1 health here. The current amount of chroma elixirs, which essentially fill your health from whatever it's at to full between rest points. There we go. They replenish at expedition flags. Think of those sort of like bonfires. Just checkpoints, essentially, but you do refill some of your potions and stuff. So we're going to use our chroma elixir to heal up, remove all the blood, and now we actually look pretty good. Now, this little shadow here, this is not going to be here at this point in the full release. It's only here for the preview. It serves as a combat tutorial, which I'll take everybody through here so that we're all on the same page. Yes, let's play the battle tutorial. Okay. So you can see on the left immediately, we've got a turn order thing. In the middle, we've got our battle wheel. And it's a mix of turn-based combat, but then when the enemy's attacking, it is up to your reaction, so parrying and dodging and stuff. It's very, very enjoyable. During your turn, the character can attack, aim, or use a skill, or use an item. Skills consume AP. You can see here we have 4. You gain AP, this is very important, by just performing a regular attack, or by parrying. So there are certain upgrades that we can get as well that will unlock gaining AP on perfect dodges. But anyways, we'll see if we ever run into that. On the left, we've got the timeline. It shows you the turn order there. We can try attacking to gain an AP. Sure. The attack, you just select your target. The attack just happens. Fine. Enemy turned. Mael is going to attack now. And you can see in the bottom left, we've got 2 options right now, parry and dodge. Not to get too far ahead of myself, but later on in the preview, we will get access to another thing. I won't say what that is yet, but we will get access to another thing that we can employ to do here. During an enemy attack, dodge at the right time to avoid damage. Dodging at the last moment will trigger a perfect dodge. Okay. So the skill wheel, you can spend the AP to cast skills. Each character can have up to 6 skills equipped, so we're going to try to use a skill here. And the Gustav's overcharge, you can see on the right that it will kind of explain what his main thing is. And each character has completely different mechanics, which is super fun to switch between and utilize once we start growing our team here. Gustav starts with 2 skills, the Lumiere Assault and Overcharge. He can use attacks and skills to charge up his overcharge meter, and unleash a devastating blow with his overcharge skill. Use Lumiere Assault to gain charges. So let's just read through these in detail so that we're all on the same page. Lumiere Assault is 3 AP in the top right there. It's low physical damage. And the reason that this is important, the reason I'm sharing all this is because enemies have certain weaknesses. So he's capable of dealing physical damage with Lumiere Assault. And if you look ahead to overcharge, it's lightning damage. Some enemies might be weak to lightning. Critical hits with Lumiere Assault generate 1 additional charge. But at a minimum, he's going to do 5 hits with this. So pretty solid for building up that overcharge. And then overcharge, high lightning damage based on the amount of charges, and it's 1 single hit, and it can break, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So let's go ahead and do this. Now, when you're doing the certain attacks, will trigger these quick time events, and if you can land it in the yellow, then you get this perfect timing and you get a stronger effect. And this comes into play a lot more when you're doing healing or buffs. That's when it's really noticeable because you can hit more enemies or more allies with certain skills if you're landing these quick time events at the right time. Okay, so now we get the opportunity to parry here. During an enemy attack, you can parry. Parries share the same timing as perfect dodge, but is more difficult than a regular dodge. That's important to note. Parrying recovers 1 AP in addition to avoiding damage. It also does damage to the enemy. So if you can parry it, that's the way to go. You get all the best benefits. Parry again, because they'll do combo attacks. And if you can parry them all, then you get to hit back. Parry one more time. Boom. Okay, so overcharge is maxed out. Now you can see the 10 out of 10. That's because we got all of those hits in with the Lumiere Assault. The overcharge is full, and we can unleash a devastating blow. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to choose overcharge. It's 4 AP, which we have. And let's go. It's going to reset our charges. She gone. Now I've got the victory screen. It shows you who we've killed in the bottom left, which enemies you've killed are in there. Battle loot, if any. Shows you the time, the damage, all of that kind of stuff. And there we go. That's our battle tutorial. All right, now we're into the game. Now we can run, obviously. We've been doing that. But I do just want you guys to be able to take in some of this world, too. Oh, I love the enemy design. Okay, it's game on here. So we can also free aim. You may have noticed that if you're keen-eyed on by his right arm there. Left trigger for aiming. So let's go ahead and do that. Enemies will have these weak points. Now shooting costs 1 AP, but we'll aim at the Lancelier's weak point to deal increased damage. So let's go ahead and do that. The weak points generally look like this, but not all the time. So that's the weak point gone. And if an enemy has that, we want to be shooting it. Now, I could keep shooting here, but I feel like we need to make better use of our skills or attacks. So let's go ahead and do a Lumiere Assault. There we go. Oh, I was a little early on that. That's okay. So what I've learned in my limited time with combat is that if you're fighting an enemy for the first time, I would say it's generally advisable to dodge a few attacks because they're going to have multiple variations of their attacks and they kind of call out what it is, and then it's up to you to learn that timing. You have a bigger window to be able to dodge than you do to perfect dodge or parry. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility there. I'll also show you our items panel here. This recharges. These are essentially potions, and these recharge after those rest spots as well. But you can heal a bit. You can give 3 AP to the targeted ally, or you can revive an ally with some health. So just so that you know what's in there. Now, I only have 1 AP, so I can't use any skills here, which means I can only attack, so I have to build up that AP. That was a good crit. Now he's going to attack slowly here. There's our parry, and goodbye. Okay. I wanted to do the parry there because we were going to get the extra AP if we do a successful parry. But we killed him anyway, so... I can't wait to play this game from the very beginning, because we are dropping in here, and the vibe that I'm getting is that at this point in the game, maybe is the first time that we're controlling him. And also, look at his left arm. What's the story there? Was it amputated? How did he lose that arm? How does he have control of that? It's like, this world seems to have this interesting mix of, I guess, automaton type units, like that enemy, and then also like his arm can grapple up here. Now in some of the more open areas, there's a lot of exploring to do, lots of things to find, lots of upgrades for your characters, lots of money or credits to buy things with. So we definitely do want to be exploring. That's cool. I love that we're just dropped in here as a, hey, have fun, figure it out type of world. We don't know a ton. Oh, this looks welcoming. Yeah, speechless. Likely previous expeditions. Now there is something that we can do. I guess I don't have access to the pause menu yet, but we can change some of our gear to have a little bit of a different visual look if we want. And now we're basically in hell. Whoa.
You do that, we both die.
Okay.
Hey. Fucking hell. Wake up, Gustav.
Lune. The others.
I know. We're the only ones left. You don't get to die.
It's just a matter of time before we're already dead. Look around, look.
This is not a foregone conclusion. When one falls, we continue. Get up. We need to find a safer place. There are Nevrons around.
Lucien.
This is not the place. The Lumina converter seems intact. It's about time we test it in real conditions.
Putain.
Go time, baby. Now, a little bit of behind the scenes for you. When I test games, I skip all the cutscenes so that when we're playing it through, I get to have like a genuine reaction. And I thought it was interesting there where she's like, if you do that, we both die. So I don't know if they're kind of part of the same person or soul, or I don't know how that works yet. But I thought that was very interesting that she said that. She also commented that these guys are called Nevrons. I think that's just what we're calling most of these enemies. And then she was saying the Lumina converter is intact. I don't have a clue what that is yet. And so we're gonna have to piece some of that together. We'll learn about her specific mechanics. She uses things called stains that are really, really neat. But we'll go ahead and start by getting rid of that weak point. You can see how much damage that is. Kind of nuts. But let's go ahead and do the Lumiere Assault. You can see, like, that's not a lot of damage, right? That weak point was pretty crucial, but the basic attacks against this guy, not doing a whole lot. Now, Luna's skills generate elemental stains. Her skills also consume specific stains to enhance their effects. So there's 5 types: ice, fire, lightning, earth, and light, all indicated by colors that you would imagine are correct. Light stains are basically wild, so they can be consumed in place of any other stain. Cycle between the different elements to get the most out of her skills. So if we look at her skills, a couple of things to be paying attention to. Her starting skills are Ice Lance and Immolation. Ice Lance is an ice skill that generates 1 ice stain and 1 light stain. So you can see on the top right of the skill box, the elemental icons for ice and light. And then next to that is the AP cost. Ice stains can be consumed by fire skills like Immolation, while light stains can replace any other stain. Use Ice Lance to generate stains. So let's read these through in full. Let's start with Ice Lance because that's what we're gonna launch first. It's medium ice damage, slows the target, and it's 1 hit. It consumes, what was that? Earth, I believe, to deal increased damage, but we don't have any earth stains yet. Immolation is low fire damage that applies 3 burn. Now, if they have burn, they take damage at the start of their turn. It's like kind of a dot damage over time. It's 1 hit. Now, if the enemy is marked, that's that little X, which is a skill we'll learn later. Then you can apply 2 more burns to them, so that's pretty strong. This is going to generate fire stain and a light stain in the top right. But this is the important part, as highlighted on the tutorial. It will consume an ice stain to do more damage. So that's why we're going to start with the Ice Lance. We're going to generate those stains and then consume it when we use the Immolation later. Okay. Now, slow is a debuff that reduces the speed of the character by 25%. We'll get into some of these stats soon, I think. but basically that can influence where they appear in the turn order. Elemental affinities. The Portier is weak to ice and took 50% more damage from ice lance. Most enemies have elemental affinities. Either a weakness, where they'll take 50% more damage, a resistance, where they'll take 50% less, nullify, where they take nothing, and absorb, where they actually turn that damage into healing. And as far as I can tell, there's no way to like investigate the enemy like you might see in Final Fantasy or something like that. You have to learn it, and each enemy you have to remember what their weaknesses are. So it's pretty cool. Find the affinities and exploit them to optimize the damage you deal. Okay, so he's going to attack here. Oh, okay, I wasn't sure. I was like ready for it because the timing is very, it's tight. But I didn't know we were getting a tutorial here. Press right button to parry and execute an expedition counter. So when he's doing a group attack, you can still parry and dodge and all that. So there we go. Now, I could kill him here, but I think I'll just skip my turn so we can consume. You can skip with the right stick. Oh, it won't let me even. Okay, I'll have to take him out. That's fine. You got the idea, though. You got the idea. Okay, so we did find a skill here called Dodger, level 1. That's exciting.
We did it, Gustav. Let's see if your invention lives up to its reputation, shall we?
Okay, so he invented this Lumina converter.
We're not dead yet.
Yeah.
Come on. There might be other survivors at the Indigo Tree.
Okay, so we've got Picto's Dodger, which is going to give a speed boost of 12, increase your critical rate by 3%, but more importantly, you're going to gain 1 AP on a perfect dodge once per turn. So, Pictos can be equipped to increase character stats. Higher level Pictos grant better stats. They also provide passive effects called Lumina. Each character can learn Luminous associated with each Pictos. Okay, so Pictos, the main skill. Luminas are kind of a side thing that other characters can use. Luminas can be equipped in the Lumina menu using Lumina points and can trigger their effects without equipping the corresponding Pictos. To equip a Lumina, press the start button. Okay, so now let's get into this a little bit because this is pretty cool. Gustav, let's give this to you. So here's the character overview. All the information for one character. You can change equipment or wardrobe, like I mentioned earlier. Change the equipped weapon there. Here's our Picto slots. We can equip 3 Pictos at a time. For skills, as we unlock those, we can equip up to 6 active ones. And then Lumina on the right, equip learned Lumina by selecting any of the Lumina slots. And then you've got the wardrobe there. Okay, so Pictos. Let's go ahead and we're going to throw in Dodger here. From this menu, it's possible to see the list of available Pictos and change the character's equipped ones. Pictos with a gray icon represent Pictos for which a Lumina can be learned. Pictos with a blue and golden border represent Pictos for which the Lumina has already been learned. Equipped Pictos are shown here. Each character can have 3 equipped at a time. Characters cannot equip the same Pictos. There's no other requirement for equipping them. If it's confusing, don't worry. I'll try to simplify it as we go here. It is possible to sort the list of Pictos using the sorting options in the top left. After having learned at least 1 Lumina, it will be possible to equip its passive effect via the Lumina menu. So, let me go ahead and equip this Dodger on him. Now, if we go over to Lune, or and we go to her Lumina's section, Can I do it? I do it from here and then edit luminas. You're going to notice, well, I was told that if I equip the Picto, then I could put the Lumina on the other character. Just wait. If a character can't learn a Lumina, it's probably because they already have the associated Pictos equipped. That is not the case here. It is possible to quickly go through each character to adjust their Lumina. Available Lumina can be seen here. They're learned for all characters at the same time and can be equipped by multiple characters. Each Lumina costs a specific amount of points to activate. You can activate or deactivate Lumina freely at any time outside of battle. So you're constantly changing the Luminas to fit your builds, which is really fun. The amount of available Lumina points is shown here. The more points the character has, the more Lumina they can activate at the same time. Each character gains 1 Lumina point per level. It's also possible to find items called the Color of Lumina that give 1 Lumina point to 1 character when used. Filtering and sorting here, offensive Lumina, increase damage, defensive, increase survivability, support ones, affect everything else like AP gain, buff, status effects, etc. So, like I was saying, he's got this Dodger one equipped, but if you recall, it said that if it was a gray icon, it can be learned as a Lumina. If it's a like blue or gold, then it's already available as a Lumina. And this is something that it doesn't tell us in the tutorial, at least not in this build, but you do see it on some loading screens. And I believe the number is 4. And what I'm referencing is, now that we've got this equipped on him as a Picto, if I go through 4 combats with it, then it should become available as a Lumina that she could equip, or any other character could equip. So for right now, nothing that I can do there to add the Lumina, but we'll get to that. While we're in here, let's look at the wardrobes, because there's some sick looks here. So she can do this expedition look. She's got this gommage, which is a little bit more fancy, and then we've got a super fancy look here. Then each of them can wear this rose if we want as well. I don't mind that look. Let's do the kind of white and red look with her. He's got a few extra looks. So he's got the Lumiere suit, which is very cool looking. He's got the Obscur, which is nice, that little winged element there. The black and gold, I'm very partial to. Expedition is where he started, and that looks great. And then he's got a flower suit as well. We won't go with the rose for him. And this, by the way, this is purely aesthetic. This doesn't change any stats or anything. But let's go maybe this Obscur. I like that a lot. Cool. Okay. So there's some other stuff in here. You can see the weapons that we have, the Pictos, any quest items, and then any tints, which we'll start finding soon. And then journal entries if we find those. In the bottom right, this is the last thing before we jump back in. You're going to see those 3 different potions. Those are those items that you can use in combat, and those get replenished at every resting point. Now, when we're exploring with these characters, you can just switch between them by pressing the left stick. And so, kind of what we saw in the cutscene where she was like, if you do that, you're killing both of us. I'm thinking that there's some type of element where they're one and the same somehow, but at least in this preview, I don't have access. Also, her running is very cool. She basically floats. And this is by far, the coolest way to get around. It doesn't give her any bonus traversal options or anything like that. But it's certainly very, very smooth. Feels very nice to run around like with her. Okay, here's one of the flags. Expedition flags. I know I say flag weird. I'm from Western Canada. We say EGs and AGs a bit strange. My apologies. During your journey, you'll find expedition flags set up by previous expeditions. Expedition flags allow you to heal, recharge your items, learn new skills, allocate character attribute points. Characters gain 1 skill point and 3 attribute points per level. So let's go ahead and hit this. Okay, so we can upgrade attributes here. So we've got 3 points available for each. And you're going to notice some scaling there. And similar to Dark Souls, that's going to increase your weapon damage a little bit more if you go into that skill. But what's interesting is that you're going to find different weapons all the time. They have different scalings. and you may want to swap those around, and you may want to redo all of your attributes. And you can, if you find these recoat things, as you'll see in the bottom right there. Anytime you find one of those recoats, you can use it to reset all your attribute points. So if you find a weapon that you really like that has different scaling, you can go into that. So for him, I'm going to focus a little bit on vitality and a little bit on attack power. Everything in here is pretty self-explanatory, except for maybe the speed, because it just says it makes the character play more often. So you can manipulate the speed to change the order in which your team goes, as to my understanding. So let's lock that in. And here, she scales pretty high on luck. So this could help. If we put a little bit into here, maybe we'll go 1 point, get up to 6% critical, and then we'll go into some vitality as well, just to tank up a little bit. These guys are all probably 2 hits from death. Some enemies are going to one-shot them, so it's a little frightening early on. Skills-wise, we don't have anything yet, but as a brief little preview, I'll just kind of hover through these. And if you want, you can pause and look at some of these as I'm going through them, but we'll develop these characters as we go. Okay. That also, you'll notice, refilled our... Oh, we didn't rest, actually. So if I rest here... Now it's going to refill that chroma elixir so that we can heal between these resting points as well. Okay, first strike. So use right button. I'm playing on an Xbox controller on PC. To attack an enemy first and gain an advantage in battle. This is pretty important because that's going to guarantee that you're at the top of the initiative order. And we're fighting 2 here. Okay. So we did get first strike. That's excellent. Let's probably we just attack the weak points. Now I might not always want to attack the weak points right away. Gustav is going to get access to this marking skill that increases a bunch of damage, and that stacks with the weak points, which is pretty cool. The downside of me doing that actually is that I overspent AP, so I don't have enough for a Lumiere Assault. So I could have done that a little differently, but that's fine. Let's just attack now. We're gonna get an AP off of this. And then let's see if we're able to clear one of these. Okay, these guys are weak to the frost. He's attacking slowly. Ba-boom. There we go. I also love the visual representation of her stains. Like, you see that floating weapon of hers, and it's got the stain charges on there. So it's obviously on the character portrait in the bottom right, but it's also in the game. I just think that's really, really cool that they've done that. Okay, let's go ahead and do overcharge here. It's not maxed out, but we'll kill him anyway. Okay, so we found a weapon here, the Lance Ram, level 1. That's pretty cool. Now, notice on the right, do you see Dodger there? So it's got a blue segment highlighted. That's showing you that's battle 1 of 4 that's needed to I don't want to say level up because I don't want to get that confused with the characters, but if that is, once we fill that up, then it becomes available as a Lumina for other characters to use. There we go. So, this is a Lanceram. Now, not all characters can use all weapons. That's something to keep in mind. He's more of this kind of sword physical damage type. But notice here, scaling-wise, it's the same on Vitality, which is good, but it's adding some scaling on Agility. And that sword element is just physical damage, but that's going to increase his attack power by quite a bit. So that'll be very helpful there. Over here, you can see, because these guys each leveled up, they have 2 possible Luminas available to use, but we'll have to wait until that one is available. And we will find a whole bunch of skills that we'll be able to utilize with
an advantage.
Lumina. So these builds will change quite a bit over time. There we go.
Nice.
There we go. New Pictos, critical burn. 25% increased critical chance on burning enemies. So let's go ahead and check that one out. Now, here's the thing. Her weapon does burn damage. So if we just do like regular attacks, we can apply this burn, or she has that immolate, right? So she has the ability to burn. Now, I'm thinking not to just put everything on him, right? But I think it makes sense that if she applies the burn, he gets a 25% increased critical chance on burning enemies, right? We may end up changing that at some point. Maybe it's going to be better on her. This one as well is a gray icon, so we have to fill this for 4 battles, and then it's available as a luminous, so we can put it on both people. But yeah, that whole system, the Pictos and the luminous, I love it. It's cool because it means you don't have to make, you have a lot of flexibility, I guess is the point I'm trying to make in our builds. Where did he go? Where'd he go? Ha! Okay, he's gone. We'll take it, I guess.
A house?
Looks abandoned.
We can use that.
Chroma Catalyst can be used at camp to upgrade weapons to level 3. We're not going to get to camp stuff for quite a while. And then even still, we have to unlock some stuff for camps, to my understanding, to be able to use that.
Not too far from here. If anyone else made it, they'll regroup there.
Yeah.
We see anything in here? It looks like this is our only way. Anytime there's a direct path to something, just go the opposite way.
Interesting.
Okay, +1 energy tint shard. So if we look here, now you see those potions. We've got the first one, which is healing, the second one gives AP, and the third one is revive. So now I've got 2 of those charges, and when we rest, we will replenish that and have 2 potions that give extra AP. You can see we kind of cycled around here to this point.
Here we go.
Look at this. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
The indigo tree's over there.
Okay, so we have enemies back there. We can go ahead and pick up some of this.
Well, that will help.
Let's go for this guy. Okay. He should be pretty straightforward here. Now, if he's burning, we have a higher crit chance, but we're gonna go ahead and take out the weak point right away, and then we'll do a Lumiere Assault. And don't worry, we're gonna get access to a whole lot more skills and abilities very quickly. You can already see, like, we've picked up 2 brand new skills for Gustav already. Let's do Ice Lance here. We have enough to just wipe a single enemy.
Nice.
I saw we have that flag. We might as well rest at it. Just check around here for anything else. Like what is this? Like, who comes up with this? This is insane. It's like, I know I'm gushing, but I haven't been this excited about a game for a very, very long time. And the fact that I'm able to have this preview right now is just the best, man. Let's rest so everybody gets fully healed. We get our potions refilled, and we gained another level. So let's go here. We'll do something like this. Little maybe instead of vitality, we'll take some crit chance, take that up to 15%. Defense, not the sexiest pickup, but I think could be really important later on. Let's go ahead and do that for him. And then for you, what do we want to do? Your crits are pretty low. Let's go here, a couple points in vitality, and we'll throw 1 into defense for you. All right, sweet. Now, we do have access to our first set of skills here. And we've got 1 skill point available. So let's look at the level 1 skills. Powerful applies powerful to 1 to 3 allies, increasing the damage they deal for 3 turns. It gives 0 to 2 charges. Now, what does that mean, 1 to 3 allies? Well, if you think earlier, I did kind of allude to this when we're doing those quick time events in the casting animation. If I nail those, it will apply it to more allies, and it will grant us more charges. If you miss those, which, again, like it will happen. I've hit most of them here, but it will happen for different reasons. But this is pretty cool. This is a very strong ability. Marking shot, though, very nice. It applies that mark. We see some benefits from that mark in her skills, so I think we're going to take marking shot first. Now, over on her side, we've got a couple of options. We've got 3 different choices. 1, we've got a healing. Heals a targeted ally, dispels status effects. If you consume those 2, I want to say earth. I might have misspoken on the stain. I'll double check because it's ice, fire, lightning. Is it earth? I can't recall. Anyway, but if you consume 2 earth, then it's a free cast, which is nice. Or 2 light symbols, because those are wild. Yes, earth damage. So earth rising generates an earth stain, deals low earth damage to all enemies for 1 hit, and it will consume lightning stains for increased damage. And then Thunderfall deals medium lightning damage to random enemies, 2 to 6 hits. Critical triggers an additional hit and consumes fire stains for increased damage, but it's 5 AP to use, which is a lot. So we're generating right now fire and ice. If we have things that can use that, maybe Thunderfall, maybe I grab that because it can consume the fire. Here we could hit all enemies and start generating some earth stuff. And then if we led with that, so here's something we could do. We could go Earth Rising, deals low damage to all enemies, 1 hit, generates earth. And then up here, you consume earth to deal increased damage with Ice Lance that generates ice stains. And then you go into Immolation, consuming the ice to deal higher damage on the Immolation. I think that makes sense. And with her, this is kind of the process that you should be going through to determine her build, is like, what's the order in which you're going to use her stains to kind of capitalize on this? And yeah, it's very, very rewarding to do that. You can also fast travel between these expeditions. And yeah, very cool. So let's rest here. Guys, let's take a break here. Thank you so much for watching. If you could drop a like on this video, leave me a comment with your thoughts. Like I said, I haven't been this excited about a single player narrative experience for a very, very long time. And we are here. The full release is a month and a bit away. And I'm stoked that we're going to get this little teaser preview and then dive into the full game at release. So if you're new here, please subscribe. I'm going to be dropping a ton of videos. If you're a member of the channel at, I believe it's headphones on tier or higher, then you can watch any videos that I've uploaded before they're scheduled to the public. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll be uploading, I don't know, as much of this preview as I can right away for people, and then I'll be releasing it daily at the same time every day for everybody. So thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next time, and hope you enjoyed. Bye for now.